Aloha kakayaka e Hawaii. This is Pokalai Nui. You are listening to Hawaiian Potpourri. Today is Sunday, the 24th day of June, and the time is 8 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. Thank you very much for joining me. If you would like to call and share an opinion on this program, our telephone number here is 524-1080. Give me a call. We'll put you on the radio and see what you have to say about some of the issues that I will be raising. I want to first say that last night our discussion was on the presidential elections and the essentially the lack of in-depth discussions with regards to both domestic and international affairs. In fact, in terms of international affairs, the discussions there are essentially silent. In terms of domestic affairs, the only topic seems to be either the economy or immigration. In terms of immigration, it seems like the only one who has a position is Barack Obama, with Mitt Romney simply saying, well, we'll depend on the Congress coming up with a solution. Obama saying the Congress hasn't come up with any solution over the last 4 years, and as a result, he has had to take action in that area. In the area of gay and lesbian rights and human rights, there has been very little debate. Mitt Romney has not taken on any of the issues there, not straightforwardly or part of the campaign, while Barack Obama has taken positions during his presidency, one with regards to the right to marry among the gays and lesbians, second with regards to military service and getting away with not only don't ask, don't tell, but the whole idea of any discrimination being permitted there. And the courts, in that sense, or with regards to marriage, seems to be supporting the Obama approach on a constitutional rights basis. But it's not a debate. Romney has not really drawn that issue. Instead, the debate seems to be, if there is a debate at all, seems to be on the economy. And with that, rather than a real in-depth analysis of what is happening, we are finding more, very short statements being made rather than an in-depth analysis. The word for short statement right now escapes me as it did last night. Sound clips, that's it. Sound clips. And so we have a campaign being run by too much sound clips. In terms of economics, the real underlying question seems to be, what is the role of government? Should government be active in the markets and trying to affect and change certain aspects of markets, such as a control of interest rates, that banks can borrow money from the Fed and then lend out, and the control of interest rates will affect the lending policy of banks, which affects the general economy, the mortgage prices, and the rest. Other people are saying no, the government should stay out of these things and just let the economy run itself and face its own ups and downs without trying to be manipulative of the economy. Same argument that was done before the Great Depression, that resulted in major trusts being created, huge banking industries, oil companies, and the rest, until the government stepped in and you had control of these trusts and the breaking up of a lot of these oil companies as examples, and essentially finding that the rich was getting far too rich and just controlling all financial activities, and there was no real opportunity for the middle class to get into the flow of business, that kinds of stuff. So you have this trust-breaking laws that came into effect, more regulations with regards to banking, And so you had the Fed now stepping in, being created, given muscle. However, over the more recent years, the regulatory agencies themselves have been essentially in the pockets of these major corporations, so that you have the formation of trust, again, finding different ways of creating themselves. And as a result, you find what has more recently happened, the ability to lend money for home mortgages, and then taking advantage of the values of home mortgages and essentially suckering in people to borrow these monies and to going underwater essentially. And so they created a very terrible situation with regards to the economy. Should governments step in and be more active, or should they just stay out with regards to health issues? Again, you find that too many people are going around unhealthy without insurance, and medical costs has skyrocketed, so that there are, it seems, no real controls. A lot of people turn and blame the doctors. Doctors are saying, I'm just operating according to what the market will pay or will not pay. And as a result, I have to pay off my student loans. I have to pay for these offices. I have to pay for insurance. And so these are not getting us rich. We're just barely surviving. And you're finding doctors getting out of the practice because they cannot afford to practice under the present conditions. And yet medical costs seems to be rising on and on. Then who are the culprits? Is it pharmaceutical companies? Is it the HMOs, which are making money, such as HMSA in Hawaii, or Kaiser, or Aloha Care? Now, Aloha Care, I don't think has made all that much money, but HMSA makes quite a bit of profits, and yet their rates continue to skyrocket, including, or as well as Kaiser. Is it them, or is it the pharmaceuticals who are charging grossly exaggerated amounts for the kind of medication that if you went to Cuba or you went to Canada, the prices of these medications would be far lower? Do we need some sense of socialized medicine? And some people say, well, we're against socialism because the United States is a capitalist country. But is it really? Is not the universities all socialist? Is not the participation by multinational corporations involved in the universities and using university research part of the socialistic approach that is being taken? Why are the people themselves, when it comes to healthcare, able to participate in this so-called socialistic approach? Is Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, all social support systems? So the idea of what is capitalism, what is socialism, is just a facade. It's illusions that we like to believe in, but when you really test the reality, that's not the case. The United States is, in essence, just as socialist as it is capitalist. And so the question is, where is the balance? It is being termed in different words, but in essence, that is the question. On the side of Mitt Romney, he is essentially saying Mitt Romney as an individual has good economic leadership. But when you actually come down to what is that leadership, the response is, well, he's made a lot of money, he knows how to run business, and he has that business experience that Barack Obama does not have. On the other side, people are saying, yes, but is that the experience that we want? Because isn't it that kind of experience that has downturned the economic system? Isn't it his practice to, he uses the term offshore, the other word is outsourcing jobs. And in his practice, you can see that there is a lot of this outsourcing of jobs into other companies or other places, so that the American employee is not getting the opportunity to raising themselves. So people are arguing about whether or not he really knows how to run an economy for a nation as opposed to running an economy just for Mitt Romney. On the other hand, Barack Obama is saying what? Yes, we need to be more involved and we need to be participatory in the regulations that we employ to control the banks, to control major corporations. No one has yet talked about trust busting, but that's essentially what we have now with not national corporations but multinational corporations that needs to be busted. But the thing is, where is a mechanism for it? The United States only has jurisdiction over those companies which are American registered companies or that are located within the United States. You either have personal jurisdiction or you have territorial jurisdiction. But when you have multinational corporations that are placed in different parts, it changes the approach that is to be taken. The combined forces of nations have not been effective in addressing the economic situation. So you look at the Eurozone, they're having a most difficult time getting countries themselves to agree as to what the therapy for this sick economy is to be. Anyway, the campaign for the presidency has not dealt with these issues to that level, and so it's a very, as far as I'm concerned at the present time, a shallow campaign that essentially resolves itself around personalities, around traditional likes or dislikes, and so you have the opportunity for those older prejudices to come rising up to the top, although not being explained explicitly, but just being referenced to. So when you're dealing with issues such as the birther issue, as if it is still an issue, that is in essence a racist issue, playing or hiding behind the birther campaign. There is no constitutional question about Barack Obama's legitimacy to run for the office of presidency. But people continually mention it as a refrain to reflect their own prejudices, talking about who his father was or who his real father was, and trying to insinuate different things about this individual, such as his religion, his political makeup because of some gene transfer to him, and things like that. Very silly arguments, which just goes to show the shallowness of such arguments. Okay, the next issue has been with regards to rail here in Honolulu, and whether or not rail should be supported or not. Now, the proponent, or the opponent, I think more properly said, of rail is the proponent for expenditures in other areas of solving the transportation issues here in Hawaii. And that is Ben Cayatano, former governor of the state of Hawaii. On the other hand, you have those who support rail, and they include Carlisle and Caldwell. Carlisle currently the mayor, and Caldwell having sort of acted as mayor while he was serving in the Hanneman administration. The issue seems to be limited to rail, but there seems to be so many other issues that could be addressed, such as right next to or connected to rail is the bus system. And the bus system, which seems to be tanking or going down to the dogs as far as many riders appear to be concerned, and you will find a lot of the concerns expressed in this morning's Sunday newspaper with the changing of schedules. People don't know how long they're going to have to wait. Others who have been long-time bus riders threatening to just buy a car and start driving again. And some of these people are very elderly people, an 81-year-old person saying, it seems like I'm just going to have to get a car because I can't be waiting all day with this uncertainty as to what the bus schedule is. Now, the people running the bus and not the drivers, but the people running the bus system, is saying, "Oh no, this has nothing to do with rail. We're just trying to make adjustments so that we can save on cost for the expense of running the bus system." And yet other people are saying, yes, and in the meantime, you're giving $30 million away just because you need to pay a penalty or because of to advance to the contractors of rail. And where is that money coming from? You're pulling it out of our pockets and putting it somewhere else. The management, the overall management of the city is so screwed up in the Hanneman administration and now in the Carlisle administration that people are not taking care of the basics and yet want to build a rail system that is not going to solve the supposed problem that they claim it will solve. Such as, why aren't we taking care of the sewers? Why aren't we taking care of the water system? Why are there so many breakage and then we have to wait so long, traffic being interfered with, so many potholes? Who's taking care of that? And so you have that continuing debate now going on in the mayoral race. And even there's not enough attention to these kind of issues, and it has been, I favor rail or I don't favor rail, without any deeper analysis. Last night we had a caller who, it appears, attempted to provide the background or the backboard in which a more in-depth discussion could be held, but we couldn't continue that discussion because we essentially ran out of time. So that's the events, or not the events, but part of the discussion that occurred last night. If any of you would like to continue with those discussions, you can give me a call. We'll put you on the radio and see what you have to say about those things. Our telephone number here is 524-1080. Give me a call. We'll put you on the radio and see what you have to say about these matters. Other things that have come up this morning in this morning's paper. There's a guy, if you know or you knew Paul Choi, and probably a graduate of Punahou. He's about 71 years old now, and so if you're at that time or in that age and were familiar with the Punahou crowd, or probably with the Honolulu crowd, well, Paul Choi, or a person who calls himself now Paul Choi, is suffering from Alzheimer's disease, and he has been living for the last 51 years as Curtis Lee. Now, as he goes in and out of what his wife called La La Land, he came out of La La Land and says, or the wife asked him, the wife is Violet Lee, said, let's see. Oh, he says, my name is Choi. And so his wife said, I said, does Mr. Choi have a first name? And he says, Paul. And then she says, well then, who is Curtis Lee? And so he just smiled and went off to La La Land, as she puts it. So she's in search of if there is really a Paul Choi, is there a different history to this person? She had been married to him for 51 years, and now she's trying to find out who he really is. She believes he was born in Honolulu to a prominent family, attended Punahou School, and has been living under an assumed identity for at least half a century. So I guess you just go to the Choi telephone, or to the telephone book, look for Choi's, and they're writing it CHOY, but of course with a Chinese, or it could be Korean. They could spell it in many other ways, such as CHOI. Even the word, the name Lee can be spelled in, it seems, a number of different variations. But if you knew of Paul Choi, his picture is on the front page of the Star Advertiser. Or if you knew Curtis Lee and saw his picture, you can call the wife and say, nah, he's just pulling your leg. He really is Curtis. Or somebody else. I guess this isn't really a laughing matter, and my apologies to anyone who takes offense to my laughing. And it's not to make fun of a person who is suffering from Alzheimer's or any other disease normally attributed to the elderly. I do find it somewhat amusing, however. Okay, so that's what the sort of the business for the morning is. Before getting into any further discussions, why don't you sit back, relax, and let's hear another song.
Kaulana na pua o Hawaii Kupa ama hope o ka aina Iki mai ka elele o ka loko ino Pala pala anunu me ka paka Pane mai Hawaii moku o ke ave Koku ana honoa o Pilani Ka ko'o mai kaua I o mano Pa'apu me ke oni o ka kuhi hewa Aolea e kau I ka pulima Maluna o ka pepa o ka enemi Po o hui ai nā ku ai hewa I ka pono sivila a o ke kanaka Aole makoa e mina I ka pu'ukala o ke au puni Ua lava